Well, hello, church. It is the week of March the 18th, and it is time to rewind, and we are coming to you from our youth room. I don't know if you know this or not, but this is a construction zone, as Steven and the youth group is remodeling and rebranding our student ministry, Breakaway Student Ministries, and we are here on the new stage that is being built right now. If you have not had a chance or you didn't know that this was going on, come in on Wednesday or on Sunday and check out the work that has been going on. But enough about enough about that. Let's talk about Sunday, because it was an amazing weekend this past Sunday. We kicked off the 2012 Talent Adventures, and if you were not here, then you need to either see Steven or myself so that we can give you your seed investment money, $5 for singles and couples or $6 for families. And over the next 2 months, between March 18th and May 20th, we are going to see how far your talent can reach.
And church, we're going to make it rain!
Weekend, we continued our discussion on the 411 of 50-50. We've been talking about the essential qualities that will be needed from us as a church in order to journey toward 2020 and to journey in that adventure successfully. Remember, it is the mission, the vision, the calling of this church to become a 50-50 church by the year 2020. Simply means 50% of everything that comes into this church is going back out. It is life. It is our mission. Even more than that, it is the calling of the gospel. We want to be totally committed and totally sold out to that calling. And so what is it that's going to be needed internally? The DNA of our church in order to do that successfully, in order to live out that adventure successfully. Well, 2 weeks ago, we talked about the faith that is going to be required. And this past Sunday, we talked about the giving, the offering, and the sacrifice that is going to be needed. And we began with this merge. Always remember, the defining factor is never resources. It's resourcefulness. Now, where do we get that from? We get that from the early church. When you open up to Acts, whether it's Acts 2, Acts 4, Acts 6, Acts 15, it doesn't matter where you turn. What you find is the church was making a tremendous difference, and they were doing it not out of resources, but out of resourcefulness. When you look at the story of how the church began, it began very small, very unorganized. The structure internally wasn't great. The government was completely against them, and yet through this small band of believers who had incredible faith, they turned the world upside down. All right, now us as a church, we want to be a giving church, an offering church, a sacrificial church, but we don't want that necessarily just to flow out of the resources that we have, but we want to be a giving, offering, sacrificial church in such a way that it flows out of the resourcefulness that we see in the early church, and the resourcefulness that is inside of the Spirit of God that He has placed inside of each one of us and us as a community of faith. How do we do that? Well, the next two merges covered that. Here was the second thing that we talked about. All right, in order to truly let go of possessions, we've got to not just physically let go of them, but we've got to emotionally let go of them as well. There are times in which we will give things away, but we will still hold on to them emotionally. We'll hold on to them here in our hearts and here in our minds. And Rick Green was sitting right in front of us on Sunday, and I used him as my example as I took his Bible, and maybe he didn't have a Bible and he needs the Word of God, and I've got a Bible and I give it to him, and I may turn that over to him physically, but every time I look at him and that Bible that he holds, I see that it's still my Bible. And what I've done is I've given something away physically, but I haven't given it away emotionally. And in order to truly give resourcefully out of the Spirit that we see coming from God through Jesus into the church and driving us forward to be successful on our journey, we've got to let go of things not just physically but emotionally, so that we can turn that over. We have a tendency to do this with events and thoughts and feelings that we deal with in life. There are times in which God says to you and I, it's done, it's gone, forget about it, but we can't let go of it. The event has passed, or the possession is gone, but we are still harboring it inside. In order to let go, We've got to let go here and not just from our hands. And that is one of the essential DNA qualities that's going to serve us well as we journey over the next few years toward 2020 and becoming a 50-50 church. We're going to give, we're going to offer, we're going to sacrifice, but it can't just come from our hands. It's got to come from the Spirit of God that is inside of us. And in order to release and truly give, we've got to let go of it from our heart and our mind and our emotions so that we can give out of the spirit of generosity that God has placed inside of us. That was the first thing that we talked about on Sunday in order to be successful. Here was the second. Invest in people. There are a lot of us who invest in things, but it's more important to invest in people than it is to invest in things. And it's not wrong to invest in things. It's just more important to invest in people. That's the spirit that we see coming from God, and it's the spirit that we see that was permeating in the early church. They were investing in those that were around them, not just those in the church, but those that were around them in their communities and in their cities. They were investing in the lives, changing lives of those, transforming lives with the spirit of giving, offering, and sacrifice that God had placed inside of them. And as a church, as we journey forward, that's going to be key for us in being successful in this adventure of 50-50 that we're on as we strive to reach out locally and regionally and throughout the state and throughout the nation and worldwide. We want to invest in people, in their lives, in their hearts, and in their souls. Again, this goes back to the beginning of what we were talking about on this rewind. That is the calling of the gospel. One of the ways that we are going to experience this is through the invitation that went out to this church community this past Sunday in the 2012 Talent Adventures. And I got to tell you, we have already just been overwhelmed with the things that we've been hearing from either ladies groups and men's groups or small groups that are coming together and investing their seeds together as a group as they reach out. And we want to encourage you, please send us through email, text, or put it on Facebook even, and let us be updated on how you and your family are investing your seed money and reaching out, changing the life of this community, but more importantly, changing the life of the community in which you live. And over the next few weeks and months, we are super excited and encouraged to see how far your talents can reach. And so keep us up to date, keep us informed, and we'll see where we end up on May 20th.
That was better.
Seriously, he's been wanting to do that for 3 weeks.
Well, church, that is the rewind for March 18th. We hope that you enjoyed watching this one. We always enjoy making these videos for your viewing and reminding pleasure. But don't forget the Talent Adventure. It's going to be something amazing. Let God work through this seed money. And remember, our deadline for this is May 20th. So we want to have all this money back May 20th. Keep us updated on the amazing things that you're doing. We love you. God bless. And we'll see you Sunday.